Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. I'm your host, Matt Tardio. Israel has been relentlessly bombing Iran over the last, 12 plus hours or so. It is getting interesting out there. And I got to let you guys know, today's episode is being sponsored by GhostBed. Now, Israel has just been laying it to them. Not only do we have confirmations basically of all of the top levels of leadership within the IRGC being completely and totally wiped out, with new reports of one of the newest appointed leaders getting freaking schwacked. It is now confirmed that Mossad has been on the ground inside of Iran and actually helped with a lot of the different strikes last night. And not in the way that you would think. They actually built a drone factory, or a little drone setup, kind of like Ukraine did with Russia the other day, only Israel did it at a little bit smaller of a scale, I do believe, going over there and taking them out. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at what Trump actually had to say about the entire ordeal as well. It's going to be very, I don't want to say interesting, maybe, for how all of this is going to end up playing out. It doesn't look like the Ayatollah is backing down. They've raised the red flag of revenge today. God knows you got to be worried about the red flag of revenge, because that's when things really get serious over inside of Iran. So we're going to be taking a look at all that today and going over some of the targets that Israel ended up hitting. I got geo confirmations and locations where all of those different things went down. I'm super freaking pumped, super excited to be able to tell you guys about that. And we're going to get all into that here in just a little bit, right after a word from GhostBed. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the summertime, and if you haven't noticed yet, laying there on those mattresses, sometimes your winter sheets and your winter mattress, it doesn't quite really add up. But good news, right now, Speak the Truth listeners get an extra 10% off when it comes to Clutch Essentially during summer, when the heat alone can ruin your sleep. I'm going to be honest, there's nothing worse than waking up drenched in sweat, tangled in the sheets, like you just fought off a heat wave in your sleep. Been there, but GhostBed fixes that. Their Luxe mattresses is a lifesaver for hot sleepers. It's built with patented cooling technology that helps you sleep up to 5 times cooler than their entry-level model. It's layered with advanced breathable materials that'll pull the heat away from your body so you stay cool, dry, and actually sleep, even if your brain won't stop running. GhostBed's been doing this for over 20 years. They're family-owned. With more than 60,000 5-star reviews on every mattress, is handcrafted in the United States and Canada using premium, long-lasting materials that actually hold up. Not sure which one is right for you? Head over to ghostbed.com/Rob and take their quick sleep quiz. It'll match you with the right mattress, whether it's their Comfort, Signature, or Luxe. Each model includes the Pro Core support layer, which gives you ergonomic zone comfort to keep your spine aligned and pressure off your shoulders, hips, and back. No chiropractor and no BS, just real support. You also get a 101 night sleep trial, free shipping, and a 20+ year warranty, double the industry norm. And if you ever need help, a real human in Florida actually answers the phone. No robots, just hold music. Just someone ready to help. Here's what to do. Go to ghostbed.com/Rob and use code ROB to get an extra 10% off your order on top of their summer savings. That's ghostbed.com/Rob using promo code ROB. Sleep cooler, sleep better all summer long. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to go try out GhostBed. It's freaking amazing. It's one heck of a deal. Now, let's go ahead and get into the news. Iran decided it would be a good idea to release this promo video earlier. Jack WNC, brother, thanks for becoming a true supporter. Good to have you in the house. Now, that is a scary video, right? Like, Israel really needs to be warned about it. And just a couple minutes ago, they actually got I got confirmation. It looks like they just released footage, and I'll show that here on the screen in just a minute, that an Iranian drone actually ended up getting shot down over over Israel, and they've been shooting them down all throughout Syria and stuff like that. Now, Iran attests that it hasn't launched a retaliation yet, even though Shahed drones have been spotted flying at Israel over top of Iraq and Syria. And in the meantime, we ended up discovering who actually ended up getting taken out. Here you have the commander of the Revolutionary Guard Corps, Salami. He ended up getting schwacked yesterday. He would have been the top commander for the IRGC. He gone, he dead. I love sipping coffee while saying that, because just yesterday, this man was like screaming how Israel is about to be flattened and leveled, and now he's gone. Bo Williams says it's FAFO Friday. Let's go Nanners. Yeah, Nanner gang, how long have I been telling you that this is inevitable and that it's going to go down? The only question was how long was it going to take? Trump actually gave us an answer on that today, and it's looking more and more like we had a hell of a lot of coordination with the Israelis to make this happen. I just talked to somebody over on the ground inside Israel, and they said that Israel's actually in love with Trump, which would blow your mind after listening to the media. A lot of Israelis apparently are all about that life. These individuals are also in the military, and military members tend to like him anyways. Thomas, becoming a true supporter. Good to have you in the house, brother. Greatly appreciate it. Here you have Bagheri Higan. All right. He was the chief of the Iranian armed forces. He's dead. So you'd have been the overall leader of all of the armed forces. And then you have this gentleman whose name I am not, Rashid, Ghulam Rashid Higan as well. He was in charge of the emergency command. Israel ended up releasing this graphic, which actually shows the several different locations in which these strikes ended up taking place. One of the graphics that they actually released details what the site down in Natanz looked like that actually got struck and why they chose to strike it. Tom Bones says he fried salami. Dude, I couldn't tell you the amount of salami jokes that I have been getting from everybody lately. Now, Ayatollah finally broke his silence and came out. And when I say he broke his silence, I mean he's finally speaking on social media. He normally does it anyways, but he hasn't really been doing it that often. Well, here is one of his latest posts. He is now appointing a bunch of new general staff, if you will, for everybody that needed to get replaced since Israel ended up taking them out. So Ayatollah, he's just out appointing new general staff. I basically said he's signing new death warrants for all of these people. You can see right here, here's another post that he ended up putting up. In view of Lieutenant General Rashid's martyrdom at the hands of the vile Zionist regime and the light of Major General Shadamai's meritorious service and valuable experience, I confer the rank of Major General and appoint him commander of the Qatam al-Anyaba Central Headquarters. Well, isn't that fine and dandy? He's putting out a couple of those different promotions to people, handing them out on Twitter like it's candy. Strip D Lib Style coming in gifting, or I'm sorry, just donating $1. Appreciate you, brother. Mayor Hoogland, I guess Friday the 13th has truth to it. FAFO. Well, yeah. When you got a picture, that's how all the Iranians ended up waking up over there. Here's another one of his announcements in case any of you guys actually give crap. I don't really. All these people are just going to wind up dead anyways. Here's another one. All right. And this is the crazy part. All right. Allegedly, this guy who was appointed, whether or not this is true, it's not yet confirmed, but this gentleman who replaced Bagheri as chief of staff allegedly is dead already. Like, the Ayatollah announced that he was going to be replacing him, and now he's dead, supposedly. I don't know. But what we do know is that lots of strikes have been taking place. It kind of reminds me of what Israel ended up doing with Hezbollah and Hamas. It's like every time they appointed new leadership, they were just schwacked like instantly overnight. Strap D Libstyle says, Matt, love you, but you sound like a douche on that mattress. I can tell you hate saying it. Ha ha ha. I don't mind at all, man. It's paying the bills. Everybody's got bills we got to pay. And, you know, GhostBed actually offers a really good product. I'm not going to lie. They're pretty freaking cool. You want to see some Iranian drones getting intercepted that they claim never got fired? Here you go. Here is a video of Iranian drones being intercepted, splashing down, everything else. And coming up here in just a minute, we're going to show you brand new airstrikes that are taking place over outside of Tabriz, some of the different locations that all of that has been going down at. So it's pretty actually incredible what they've been targeting. Like I said, we've got the geo-confirmed locations of all of those as well. Here goes another shot, allegedly, of some of those drones getting taken out. Woo! Get him, get him, get him. Seems like a bit of overkill to me to go after him, but I mean, I understand. You know, Israel's got to do what it's got to do. Boom! And everything gets taken out and freaking dropped. Now, Iran does contest, even though I showed videos of it going down yesterday, they do contest that they have not launched a retaliatory strike yet, but do claim it's coming. They're saying that they're going to end up wiping Israel off the face of the map. Pilgrim Media, let it all be done through the heavens fall. Yeah, 100% agree with that statement, brother. Now, this is probably one of my favorite quotes that I have heard so far. And I want you guys to listen to this news interview, and I'm not going to play the whole thing through. It's a 6-minute clip, but he actually gives a pretty dang good assessment of what kind of Iran had to wake up to.
Military, General Bagheri, the head of their missile and drone program, General Hajizadeh, the head of their National Security Council, Ali Shamkhani, former head, but really still acted in that role, and the head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Hussein Salami, who organizes all the proxy groups across the Middle East, Hezbollah, Hamas, and others through the Quds Force. So incredible. Second point, this shows just total intelligence dominance and penetration by Israel into Iran. And that really limits what Iran can do in response here. The people who would have met this morning to figure out how to respond are all dead.
That's the quote right there. I love that quote. The people who would have figured out how to respond this morning, they're all dead. Every single one of them dead. That's freaking amazing. That is like one hell of a coordinated effort by Iran. You got to freaking, by Israel and like Mossad and just everything that takes place. This is like one hell of an intelligence operation. And I got a feeling a lot of it still, and I got to say it again, goes back to Pagergate. I said whenever Israel ends up striking Iran back, that they're going to end up taking out all their dang key leadership. And that, in fact, they did. And I think all that goes back to Pagergate. And what's really funny is that these people were like sleeping in their beds at home. They weren't hiding down in bunkers. They never saw this crap coming from a mile away. It definitely looks like us saying that we were going to have those talks with them on Sunday was almost misdirection for them to think that this was going to continue on. And maybe it was part of the plan overall. Hell, I don't know, to be perfectly honest with you. Danny Golan says smuggling the spike NLOS Mossad used is a hell of a logistics operation. They are massive, possibly used in Tabriz since it's close to Azerbaijan. That is possible. Mike Hawk Essard comes in, gifting out a Speak the Truth membership, and T. Sweitz gifts out another membership. That's freaking awesome. He said salami. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to pronounce the guy's name. I mean, that's exactly how it's spelled. If you guys haven't seen it before, I mean, that's the way his freaking name is spelled. There's Bagari. I'm trying to look for the image of salami. I don't really care, but yeah, the dude's, there he is. Yeah, look, spelled like General Hussein Salami. That's like quite literally how it's freaking spelled, man. Like, can't make that crap up. Like that's the man's name. So I don't know what else to say. That's how we pronounce it in English anyways. But yeah, they're all freaking dead. This is the graphic that Israel ended up releasing showing some of their strikes and detailing what the underground facilities look like, if I remember right. Yeah, so here's Natanz. And it actually goes down and it shows you the different facilities that they ended up striking, saying that it's suitable for military level enrichment, meaning that they are doing their best to make nuclear weapons out of this site or military grade uranium. And we've seen these different underground graphics coming from Israel before, but what absolutely amazed me was kind of like the layout of this entire area and what it would look like. Now, I have no doubt that Israel did not get a sneak peek at what the inside of this place looks like, so it's likely just a AI graphical representation, but it still gives you an idea for the level of sophistication and intelligence that Israel had on these particular targets. Like, they knew where they were going, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that people were pissed off at the Iranian regime. This video ended up getting released, allegedly of Mossad agents over inside of Iran. Now, it is being rumored that these Mossad agents actually had set up a drone facility over outside of Tehran and were just kind of waiting for the go. Now, before all of these airstrikes ended up going off, it is very possible that some of what we actually saw last night was some of their drones that were slamming into different targets. Now, they primarily were focused on taking out some of their ADA or air defense artillery that they had set up. Tony Garcia coming in gifting out 5, and Pilgrim Media says Mossad had a covert base inside of Iran. That's like, dude, it's like you read my mind. It's like you knew what I was about to go over. Yeah, check this video out, man. It's pretty freaking cool. So these agents likely are not just operating by themselves. They likely have several different cells that are scattered around the country and likely have a bunch of local nationals that they're working with. It is no wonder with this type of intelligence and like this actual like style of operation that they were using that they were actually able to go out and start knocking out some of these ADA sites. It's also a very good reason why Israel likely knew that a strike was incoming. Here you see them taking out several different targets over inside of Iran last night. Robbie Wilkins says, microwave salami, it's good with Israeli cheese. You know, I just hear that all of these salami jokes are just not going to end, that we're just going to see salami freaking roll and memes and all sorts of stuff all day long coming out of Israel, which I'm here for it, man. I love the meme game. When it comes to this crap, there's enough crap talking that's been being flung at Israel lately. I don't know why Israel doesn't start flinging it back. I think that's one of the faults of Israel is they don't do a good enough job actually talking. But what they do a good job is like coming back and swinging a pretty dang heavy stick. I'm trying to remember what was the the verbiage from Teddy Roosevelt. It's like walk softly but carry a big stick, something of that nature. That's kind of what Israel has been up to, at least in Matt's opinion. Let's go ahead and listen to what Trump has to say about
The
this.
main impediment.
We have a meeting with Iran on Thursday, so we're going to wait till Thursday.
And what's
for
the
that
main
proposal.
impediment to getting a deal?
Well, they're just asking for things that you can't do. They don't want to give up what they have to give up. You know what that is. They seek enrichment.
My bad. I ended up putting the wrong video on the screen. Whoopsie! Well, Matt's allowed to make one dumb mistake every single day. Here's what Trump had to say. Actually, matter of fact, said 2 months ago, I gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum to make a deal. They should have done it. Today is day 61. I told them what to do, but they just couldn't get there. Now they have perhaps a second chance. Trump is telling Iran to come to the table. And the amazing thing about this is he, according to him, from when Iran was notified, gave them literally like the next day, like the cutoff, the next day is when those bombs started falling out of the sky. So there's no way to look at this anymore as if this wasn't closely coordinated with Israel. Old Man White says, what do you think Iran's next move is? Licking their wounds and trying to get their ballistic missiles above ground. You want to know my personal opinion? It's licking their wounds and trying to get their ballistic missiles above ground without getting struck. Problem is with this confirmation of these Mossad agents on the ground over inside of Iran, that's telling you that they have a very vast intel network. All right. That's what that's telling me, is that intel network over inside of Iran is pretty dang vast. And so what the Iranians have to contend with now is moving enough munitions into position, because they can't just fire 1 or 2 ballistic missiles and expect to actually have a good impact, particularly if they do have a nuke and they're looking at launching a nuke. It's not going to work that way. They know that the United States, along with Israel, has vast amounts of aerial defense assets that are scattered throughout the region. So Iran needs to overwhelm that system in order to start getting munitions through into Israel. It's not good enough for them just to launch 1 or 2. It's going to be a joke. They're going to get squatted out of the sky, more than likely. And so what they need to do is get enough to where they can actually overwhelm those systems. And I'm not quite sure what that number is going to be, but they have to try to coordinate to get all of those out in order to launch an attack to go over. Robbie Wilkins says, sorry about the bad joke, sir. Thank you. Oh, I'm not even sure what the bad joke was, man. You guys apologize to me on this thing as if I can even have a freaking memory greater than that of a gnat as I continue to roll through all of this and monitor multiple different monitors and talk to you guys and everything else. I don't, man. I don't care what you guys say in the chat. As long as you're not spewing terrorist propaganda or Russian propaganda, I could really care less. And that you're not spamming the chat. If you guys are going to respect that, I really don't care what you end up saying there. Now, this is probably one of the funniest things that I ended up reading today, and I just got to share this with you guys. It's Dana Bash from CNN. She says, I just spoke with Donald Trump on the phone. The president told me that the U.S. supports Israel and called the strikes on Iran last night a very successful attack. We, of course, support Israel. This is quoting Trump. We, of course, support Israel, obviously, and support it like nobody has ever supported it. Iran should have listened to me when I said, I gave them, I don't know if you know, but I gave them a 60-day warning, and today is day 61. They should now come to the table and make a deal before it's too late. It will be too late for them. When the people I was dealing with are dead, the hardliners. I'm going to say that again. He says, the people that he was dealing with are dead, the hardliners. He wouldn't specify which people he was referring to. Asked if this was the result of an Israeli attack last night, President Trump responded sarcastically, they didn't die of the flu, they didn't die of COVID. Oh my God, dude, I gotta love that crap. JD Vance also ended up retweeting this statement from Donald Trump, blow it up big on your screen there. It basically reiterates and goes over the exact same thing, saying that, he ended up giving Iran 60 days and that Iran chose not to abide by that standard and wanted to continue to enrich uranium. And so that's the whole reason that they ended up getting bombed. So it's becoming very abundantly clear, at least to me, that the United States, in fact, did assist Israel with all of this and knew that this was coming a long time ago. It kind of confirms that Trump wasn't pushing Netanyahu anything beyond the 60 days, and that basically any reports that you heard about any of the griping, moaning, et cetera, are all being freaking shut down. Oh, congratulations, you freaking idiot. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that in the chat. Don't even do that. And you're taking place in it, so you get held as well. Yeah, I'm not going to have that crap in the chat. You guys can keep that stuff out of there. I don't like racists at all. I'm not a fan of racism. Here's a couple allegedly Israeli refueling tankers flying over Syria at a very low altitude. Somebody just asked, why the F is Nick Fuentes in the chat? I don't know, man. I don't care. The amount of people that actually watch and listen to this show kind of blows my mind. The actual people that I've heard of that have actually like seen it, and the people that I've talked to that I know watch and listen to the show on a daily basis is freaking insane. This allegedly is Israel refueling some of their aircraft. I've heard both over Syria, and I've heard this video was taken over Iran. Truthfully, there's no way of confirming what location this video came out of, but either way, it's enough to know that Israel is refueling their own aircraft. All right, so that's great. You guys ready to get into some more of the exciting stuff, like watching some of the newer videos of shit exploding? Because I've got just quite, I don't know, I'd say I got quite a few of them. I got a couple of them, new ones that are sacked up, different from last night. I've got just an entire array of airstrike videos that ended up coming out last night. But this right here with the mountainside in the background, as you guys can see, and I'm going to blow it up big, give you guys an earballs warning. This allegedly is over in that northwestern region that we just had up on the screen not that long ago. Whoever said like goat sees planes, man, look, dude, those freaking 2-ass goats that they have over there, or I feel like there is like some sort of serious, I don't know, like birth defect or something like that going on with them. It also looks like that new wave of attack, it's like Tabriz just keeps getting hammered. Seems to be that Tabriz is like the main area of focus for the Israeli Air Force right now of where they're going in. They've been heavily pounding that. I've got more videos coming out of Tabriz, which is kind of like the northwest corner, if you will, of Iran. Let me get this up on the screen actually and bring this out for you guys. Like as we start looking at it, this is actually like geo-confirmed strike locations that there's a group literally called Geo-Confirmed that they end up taking videos and sharing like the different strike locations of what was taken out. So you can actually go and look, and you guys see Tabriz all the way up over here in the north, and then you see western blah, blah, blah. I can't even pronounce that crap. But anyways, Tabriz, this is where we're waiting on the geo confirmation to come out of, all the way up over here in the north. But this is rumored to be where the majority of these strikes are actually like going down at. It looks like there's been a heavy concentration of firepower on that area, both last night and today. That last video that I just showed you, and this next one is allegedly in that vicinity. Like, man's just breathing hard, like, oh God, oh God, oh God, nobody's out here to help me, I'm by myself, oh God, yeah, your life sucks, man. He's clearly sitting on top of a tower, but even more so, look at this video, like, in the little roadway and the different types of terrain and stuff like that that are out there. It's actually kind of cool to take a look at what's out there, and it's not much at all, but it kind of makes me wonder if this guy's not sitting on top of, like, an observation tower or overlook point on that highway, you know, just an additional level of security that Israel didn't even ever end up bothering with. Here's another look of that missile factory. It looks like Israel not only went after a drone factory last night, but now they're going after a missile factory. So they're taking out their ability to respond. Check this out. Somebody just asked, like, what's with the guy's heavy breathing? And somebody also said, sounds like a little girl. You know, it's, yeah, I mean, I'll laugh at these people sometimes, but I'm going to be honest with you. When you have stuff that is, how do you want to say, out of your control, right? That there's just quite literally nothing you can do about it. And it's been made very clear over the last 12 plus hours that all of this has been out of Iran's hands. Like they literally have no control over their skies. Their skies are literally being dominated by Israel as we speak. You've got fighter jets flying in the open in broad daylight over inside of Iran today, just continuing to do these air attacks. And then you also have Mossad that's over there dropping freaking drones on them whenever the hell they feel like, and God only knows what's going to end up coming out of that. And so what I'd end up saying is like, that guy with his heavy breathing and all that other crap, dude, if you haven't been in that position, it is a scary freaking place to be, especially when you're the only other person out there, because it just almost feels like everybody's watching you and they're freaking zoning in on you, whether or not they know you're there, whether or not they even care to bother killing you. It's just kind of like a really mentally stressful place to be in. Robbie Williams coming in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Greatly appreciate you, Robbie. Thank you very much. I always appreciate everything you guys do. And if you could, please consider becoming a true supporter. Helps the channel out greatly. Helps me do everything that I do over on this channel. Believe it or not, like not only are you keeping this channel going, you're keeping the information flowing, you get access to our Discord and a bunch of other really, really cool things. So if you guys got gifted a membership today, immediately following this stream, I'll be posting the Discord link for you guys to be able to get in there on, and we'll be having a talk over inside the Discord at the end of this here in just a minute, so I can take some of you guys' questions. Spaceman Spiff says, hey Matt, any assets at Diego Garcia? Yes, we still have a lot of assets that are staged down at Diego Garcia, and that there was rumors, I think it was 2 days ago, that the U.S. had moved in like new bombers or fighters. It wasn't very specific, but we had new military aircraft that was moving in and out of Diego Garcia. And likely all of that is in preparation just in case the U.S. has to get involved again. It's not that we didn't have the B-52s down there. We had B-2 Spirit bombers for a while, and I think those rotated out, got replaced by B-52s, if I remember correct. But yeah, a big issue that we're worried about, and I talked about it last night, I want to say it was the Al Udeid Air Base. And we saw almost, it looked like non-essential aircraft from both the United States and the UK that had been getting moved out of there as soon as Israel started dropping bombs. A lot of people are speculating, saying that, this is the United States doing air refueling and everything else. I don't think that's the case whatsoever. I think that's just propaganda. I think Israel is doing this on their own. They don't need the help necessarily from the United States right now if they're going to continue on bombing this way. But what it tells me is that we're worried about those really precious aircraft and that we don't want them to get damaged, because even like a hole in the wing is going to send them back forever. So they're picking them up and moving them out of Dodge. At least that's Matt's opinion. Pilgrim Media coming in with 2. He says, I grew up with a dad, 33-year airborne ranger. Thank you. Wow, man, that's freaking wild. I bet he was a freaking tough cookie to have as a father. Well, maybe he wasn't, like, because truthfully, a lot of us are just lovers, man. Like, we just don't. We've done our time. We've proven ourselves. We don't really care. I'm probably one of the softest guys that you'll ever actually meet. Chris is coming in and gifting out a Speak the Truth membership. Greatly appreciate you, brother. But, the problem is with that is a lot of people end up mistaking kindness for weakness, and it's just not cool. But yeah, this is a result of Israeli airstrikes going over there, taking out some of their ballistic missile capabilities and their ability to send them back. Now, a lot of the launch videos and things like that we've actually seen coming out of Iran have shown some of their, and I think I might have a couple more of them coming up in just a minute. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't exactly remember, but showing them actually having their ballistic missiles like being set up and the Mossad agents going over and actually taking them out. And if I don't have those, I will make sure to put them up on the screen here in just a minute. Can the Persian flying carpets be picked up on radar? I think they can. I did, in fact, see that a huge wave of Aladdin-style rugs was heading towards Israel, that the Iranian IRGC Air Force was just picking up and heading out. Andrew Goodard coming in, becoming a true supporter. Greatly appreciate you, friend. Thank you very much. Stratcom Bureau. Ended up putting this out, and this is another, all right, Israeli airstrike over on Tabriz. What the hell was that down on the ground over there? Did you guys see that when the camera ended up going down? What is all that garbage? Like, what is this guy standing on top of? Anybody? I have no idea what the hell that is. Maybe bags of magic carpets. I don't know. Look, either way, they've been getting freaking slammed heavily over there. Here's a video coming out of Kermanshah, whatever. I can't even properly freaking pronounce this. Looking down over into the city. Yeah, it's funny how everybody else is going to go and overestimate Iran with all of this stuff. I mean, it's pretty silly. You've got to actually pay very close attention to everything that's been happening to kind of get an idea for the different assets that Israel had available to it and the likely intelligence that they were able to end up gathering. A lot of people, it's not fun to talk about, but it is very important. Intelligence drives operations. And without proper intelligence gathering, without proper intelligence knowledge, you're not really going to be able to predict or see what's going to be coming out in the very near future. Pretty obvious to me after PagerGate that there was a lot more information that ended up getting gathered than what was actually, put out to the public. And I talked about it last year when all of those pagers ended up going off, and I talked about it going into this year. Also, you pay attention to the people on the ground because that is where the bulk of the information is going to be coming from to those different intelligence assets. And when you have a freaking society like Iran that just hates the regime right now, a lot more information is going to be flowing out of there versus a place like over inside of Russia, where you have a lot of people that are still very supportive of Putin and have bought pretty much everything that the Kremlin ended up saying. Well, then you're going to have, I don't want to say this, a much harder time collecting information, but it's still possible. But over in a place like Iran, yeah, when people are getting drug out of the street, people are getting hung in the street, when people are calling for a revolution, when you end up seeing all of these different fires and shit like that going off over inside of Iran, yeah, it's pretty obvious that Israel is going to have some pretty in-depth intelligence on the movement of all of the Iranian assets. David Hoffpower coming in saying it has been confirmed Israel does not have the nuclear bunker busters you've mentioned. State Department is refusing to allow Israel to use them. Oh, well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I wonder if it's because we're holding on to those for ourselves. Very possible. MJ Fairchild becoming a true supporter. Good to have you, friend. Larry says, no one doesn't like you, Matt. Thank you for all your hard work. Oh, I promise you, Larry, if we go open up my DMs, I can show you that people don't like me. I promise you that. Every time I go on a space over on X and I speak as a panel expert in any way, I always get death threats and everything else. I get people calling me a Jew and tell me they're going to cut my head off. Old Man Sims, any confirmation of their tunnel systems getting hit? Yes, I did hear that some of their tunnel systems were targeted, but more specifically, not just the tunnel systems, but their ballistic missiles as they were going to like bring them up and out of those tunnel systems is actually what I heard. So as Iran was going to prepare for a strike back last night, within about 2 hours of the initial strike, what I ended up getting was reporting of the ballistic missiles being pushed out of the tunnels. And I've got a video somewhere. If I showed you the amount of links that I have for these videos, it would flip and blow your mind. But it did, in fact, show an airstrike going in and targeting a ballistic missile that was coming out of the tunnel system. So I don't think they're like going in and trying to bunker buster the tunnels right now. They're focusing on all of the stuff in the factories that are above ground. And then as Iran goes to try to bring them out, likely they know where these tunnel systems are at and they just have sensors over the area. And as soon as they get that movement, they've got F-35s that just drop in and freaking sling bombs, or they have Mossad launched drones that go in and take them out. All very viable options for Israel at this moment in time. Robbie Wilkins becoming a true supporter. Good to have you on board, my friend. That's tragic. Says, let's be honest, guys. Matt had a late night, probably rolled out of bed, threw on that hat, and didn't put any pants on. Are you pants checking me again, man? Are you seriously pants checking me? Look, it was a long night, and I did roll out of bed. I was very tired this morning, but I woke my ass up. I brushed my teeth. I made myself breakfast. I'm drinking my coffee. And believe it or not, I might not have on pants, but Matt put on his shorts again today. But I have to go do laundry after this. So I'll have on a fresh, clean pair of shorts here in a little bit. But I did put on clean underwear. I saw somebody ask me the question last night whether or not I wear it. The answer is yes. I stopped going commando a couple of years ago because I'm no longer doing commando things. Jamie M says, been a long night, 2 hours sleep. Could someone DM me Discord invite on X? OSINT Moose. I can get you verified OSINT intel extremely quick from people on the ground. Jamie, that's pretty cool. And I'll be posting the Discord link up for the true supporters here in just a little bit. And for those of you that don't know, it's about $5 a month to be a true supporter, to get access over into our Discord and be a part of that amazing community. MW says, seems a little less Hollywood to keep asking Matt if he has pants. One of these days, I'm going to come in here wearing underwear. And it's going to take probably about $100 freaking donation while I'm wearing that underwear for someone to pants check me and for me to actually stand up with my underwear on. But mark my words, there will be a day. And if you guys actually donated on the proper day, I will stand up, just so you know. David Hoffpower, hearing unconfirmed chatter about China preparing to strike Israel. Have you heard anything? Thanks for the amazing coverage. Jesus is the way. David, I have not heard anything about China preparing to strike Israel, and I think that would be a grave mistake for China to even attempt to do right now. What I wouldn't put past China is trying to supply the Houthis and kind of like fill that gap for the IRGC right now to get some more munitions and stuff like that over into Yemen for a retaliatory attack on Israel. There's no doubt that Iran's going to have to coordinate with the Houthis in order to make something like strong happen. Same thing with Hezbollah. Not that Hezbollah is in a very good position right now in order to retaliate, but chances are that they're going to take part in it as well. Jamie M. becoming a true supporter. Appreciate you, and thanks to have you. And that's the other thing when it comes to the Iranian response that I don't think a lot of people take into account, which is the Houthis and Hezbollah. Just like last year, that's still a very valuable asset to the IRGC and to Iran. And if they're looking at overwhelming the Israeli defense system, so to be on the lookout today, if you end up seeing munitions coming from both ways, from the Houthis and from Hezbollah up inside Lebanon, I guess maybe I ought to just throw this map back up on the screen to give you a better idea of what I'm talking about. If you end up seeing ballistic missiles coming out from the Houthis inside Yemen being fired at Israel, and then you also see a wave of drones or rockets or, you know, missiles, what the hell ever, coming out of Lebanon, it's very likely that Iran ends up responding and throwing some ballistic missiles over at Israel. If they can't get enough stuff above ground to overwhelm the system, they're 1,000% going to rely on their proxy forces to try and get it done for them, so they could sneak a couple through and maybe go after the Mossad headquarters. Last year, they tried to target Mossad following the last attack. I'm sorry, the first attack. Kenneth says, wear Ranger panties for the show. Yeah, maybe I'll put Ranger panties on, man. Who knows? Maybe I'll do that. Amanda HD says, IRGC command was Israeli asset. Tagged you on the post. Thank you, Amanda. I'll go take a look at that as soon as I get done over here. Danny Golan, we have no idea if Israel has their own nuclear bunker busters. You are correct. We don't. But that is some serious technology that I don't know if Israel is going to have the money to actually put online. Brian Supra says, take the shorts off. No, I am not taking off my shorts, Brian. I am not going to do that. No, sir, I am not going to take my shorts off. But if you guys happen to hit me on a day where my shorts are in fact off, then I'll make sure I get that done for you. Here's a couple of the geo-confirmed strike locations over across Iran. As we take a look at those, you can see pretty much where they've been like concentrating and scattered out as they go. Pretty freaking cool of some of their previous strikes and things of that nature that they've ended up doing up over in the area. And here it is. This is allegedly, this is what I was looking for, as a matter of fact. Allegedly, this is the Israeli Mossad that was going after and targeting the ballistic missiles as they were getting set up. This gives you a pretty good look at it. I'm going to explain this video. I'm going to let it play one time for you guys. It's silent. I'm going to play this video for you guys, and then I want to explain to you what I think actually happened in this case. All right, so here's what I think you're actually looking at, because what this is you have an overhead sensor, i.e. a drone, that was taking a look at the back, or taking a look at this semi-truck that allegedly has ballistic missile launchers in it. And given the way that the sucker actually goes up, I find that to be pretty credible. What I actually think happened here in this particular incident, because what you do not see is any personnel moving on the ground. You don't see anything else that's like happening in there. All the doors and everything of the truck are closed. What I actually think ended up happening in this case is a small-scale attack to where the Israelis ended up going over and basically killing the freaking driver and like the small crew that was manning this thing, planting some explosives and then putting the sensor on top of it, and then switching between the cameras. The reason I say that is because it doesn't look like an airstrike actually hit this. It actually looks like a planted explosive. And they end up switching the camera away at like this little period in time to where it goes from like the initial flash. You have a small one followed by a big one right there. Okay, so you see a primary and then a secondary detonation. To me, I think that what you're seeing is a munition that was placed likely on one of the warheads or like very near outside the vehicle. I'm not quite sure. It could be a freaking satchel charge for all I freaking know. That ended up going off in there. And then you see the secondary detonation of everything going, and it switches over to the daytime camera. Reading Rambo coming in with 2. He says, you missed my donation. All right, Reading Rambo, now you're going to make me go back in time and check that out. Let me go back. It's hard to do all this crap, man. Maybe instead of them saying, salam alaikum, they should say, hot salami lickin'. You guys. Oh, the salami jokes, they never stop. The salami jokes never stop. They're going to keep coming for days until they get old. Hold my Quran, baby. Hold my Quran. So again, here you have the Mossad agents on the ground. They tried to blur out what they were, setting up right there. But what the experts are saying is that this is a smaller drone launching platform, and that the Mossad agents outside of Tehran had a location set up for them to be able to do that. Please acknowledge Reading Rambo. I did. I acknowledged Reading Rambo. I went back and I read his comment, but I guess there's a delay in the time that things get out for where you're ticking in and what you're talking about. It's not a big deal. I don't mind at all. All right. Here we have more footage that allegedly was published by Mossad showing these strikes as well, going into some of these different sites and factories. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as you watch some of this stuff going in and blowing some other crap up. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool that Israel had those agents on the ground for God only knows how long, going in and attacking them. Here you see a ballistic missile about to get frickin' thwacked, all right, by it looks like air-to-ground munition or a frickin' drone. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not familiar with those graphics, so I couldn't tell you what the hell you're looking at. Salami has more beef. Yes, salami has more beef. Salami always has more beef. Here you've got another incoming round. This looks like it's going after, what the hell was this? I'm trying to remember. Can't remember if this is, no, I think this was aerial defense asset, not ballistic missile. Boom. And then the last video of them going after some of their ADA assets. Pretty cool. All of these suckers ended up getting, how do I want to say, taken out. It's just amazing. So I don't think Iran saw any of this coming. It's actually kind of cool when you start thinking about it, because you've got, Mossad agents that are on the ground that are going to be coordinating with people back in Israel, that are going to be coordinating with people that are up in the sky. And they know, generally speaking, when all of this is going to go down, they're going to have the information for where they set these things up. And this is likely why we saw very little retaliatory strikes going back towards Israel or targeting Israeli aircraft. Here's another video, all right, of a precision-guided munition taking out some of Iran's aerial defense assets. Check this one out. It's pretty freaking cool, man. It's like they had these locations ahead of time. They knew where they were going. They ended up striking them. They ended up schwacking them. So the question is when is Iran going to come back and actually do something about it? Robert Fitchett coming in and gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Greatly appreciate you. There's a reason I know how to say your last name correct. And you have no idea how long it took me to actually get that freaking memorization down of that last name, Fitchett. That's a good name, man. Love it. Thank you for gifting those out, friend. So now what I want to take you guys over to and get you guys on it. Oh, come on, man. I guess we'll just go ahead and sign in as this one real quick. Hopefully it'll let me. Son of a, come on, dude. I hate this. I had to update my settings yesterday. I had to clear my cache and a bunch of other things to try to get things ready to go. So it's got me signed out of all of my accounts, which is really kind of annoying if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Let me see if I can't get in real quick. See if I can't get this up and running. Scott Kyle, no more Man Love Thursdays for Salami. Yeah, I think you are right. His Man Love Thursdays got taken out. Oh, my goodness. Now they got to text me things and everything else. Let me get this code up and into the system so that I can show you guys this. Hopefully I'm able to do the same over in Discord here in just a sec, but I want to show you guys something that I ended up seeing this morning. There it is. There's that red flag of revenge. So this is something I actually talked with Rob about the last time that Israel and Iran were duking it out. The red flag of revenge that ended up getting raised up on top of that mosque. Now, technically, this is a religious site, but I look at this and I say that that is a communications platform. Underneath international law, this mosque would end up losing its protected status if they're using it for like official communications. And it certainly looks like today they are. So again, I would like to see Israel end up knocking that dang flag right off the top of that freaking building. Nova Australia, Iran didn't do a good job of hiding the salami. No, they did not do a good job of hiding the salami, but maybe he was hiding the salami at the time inside of his brother when that ended up happening. You never know. Salami could have been playing hide the salami at the time and met his maker in at least a blissful way as far as he's concerned. I don't know, or one of his goats for that matter. I had no freaking clue what they ended up doing over there, man. I hate all those people. This ends up driving me freaking nuts. Absolutely freaking nuts. Yep. So that is going to kind of do it. I'm going to jump over here and see if I can't get the Discord open up so I can start talking to you guys. Hopefully it remembers all of my login information. Last time I tried to do this, it was kind of a pain in the butt and it didn't really like it. Yep, here we go again. All right, let's see if I can't get in there. Hopefully it allows me to do it. It was giving me crap last time I ended up doing it, and I want to make sure that I can get in there and talk to you guys today. I'm really curious what a lot of you have to say. Really curious, even if you're over in inside of Ukraine, this is also going to end up impacting you, because what Israel ended up taking out is going to have a huge impact on Iran here in the future, or a huge impact on Russia in the future as well. Oh my God. All right. Well, I'm going to have to reset the password for the Discord, ladies and gentlemen. I am really sorry. Oh, maybe I can do it this way. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a hot minute. I can get in there like this. I can get in. Don't worry about it. Let me see if I can't figure this out. There's a QR code. QR code, QR code, QR code, QR code. Gotta love it. Boom. Boom. Yes. I did it. I have mastered technology. Yay. All right, let's get up over there. Let's get into the chat. I want to hear from you guys and see what you all have to say about this attack. I want to take some of your guys' questions that you end up having. So I'm going live up over inside of the Discord for you guys so that we can start taking some of these questions and make sure all of that happens. Let me get that up. Now that I have all of this stuff reset, let me open up this. And Banshee, do me a favor. Let's not talk about what we're going to be doing tomorrow, given everything that's going on right now. Deal? Deal. Sounds like a deal to me. I hope it sounds like a deal to you. All right. Texas Actual's in the house. Texas, how you been, brother?
How are you? I've been good. I've been busy, you know. Actually very busy. I've been off the radar for a little bit, but
yeah,
it's a lot of things happening everywhere, you know.
Are people at least excited over inside of Ukraine that the drone and ballistic missile production facilities have been getting schwacked?
Well, I would have thought so. And speaking to somebody in very an interesting position this morning about it, and we had a laugh about it, and he said, well, to be fair, the last 6-7 months, Russia's been quietly building their own version of the Shahed, utilizing mostly Chinese parts.
Yeah,
so they're getting dual-use parts from China. So because I'm gonna assume that they've been like figuring that something like this is going to happen. It was inevitable to happen.
Oh, right.
So they had to like start sourcing somewhere else. So, and it's quite bad because apparently, according to sources, they're doing right now 5,000, average of 5,000 of these long-range Shahed drones a month. They're producing up from last year. This time they were doing 500.
So they went from 5,000 to 500. So, is what Russia's now producing.
They went from 500 to 5,000.
Did my dyslexic butt say that backwards?
Yes.
Yep, my
yes.
bad.
They've been doing that, and in the last few nights, just in the last week, over 3,000 of those Shaheeds were fired on Ukraine.
Yeah, dude, Ukraine's been getting
3,000.
Ukraine's been getting freaking pounded, and I have every time. Like I sat down yesterday, and I was going to make a video for an update on Ukraine along with the protests that were going on this weekend, and then all this shit ends up popping off. It's like, can I at least catch a freaking break? And
it's good because I think the more shit like this happens, the more Ukraine gets out of the picture a little bit, and then they get a little bit more freedom of movement without the whole spotlight being on them. We saw it when October 7 completely kicked off. For that while, the whole world was talking about Israel and Gaza and this war that's breaking out. When the war actually started in Israel after that, for that first 3 to 5 to 6 months, like Ukraine was just doing what they wanted. Like all of a sudden restrictions were lifted on ATACMS and Kharkiv and this and that, and that was at that time when the attention was taken off completely the whole time of just what's happening there. We'll see. I think it was inevitable. We knew this was going to happen. We were just, it was just a matter of time. It was just a matter of when.
You want to hear something?
And also,
you want to hear something funny? This comment just came through. It said, "If you support Ukraine, it's weird to support Israel." In my opinion, Israel reminds me of Russia way too much. Like that, in my opinion, goes to show you how little people actually know about these two conflicts and who's supporting who and what's actually happening. Like they haven't even begun to peel the onion layer back.
They're literally intertwined. Like you don't like we know for a fact that Russia has been supplying weapons to Iran, which is not a secret, openly, and those weapons get supplied to Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, maybe not like Russia directly saying, okay, sure, you can come to our website and order yourself whatever you want, but they'll supply legitimately, with my fingers quoting here, legitimately Iran, and then Iran will just make sure that they get to all these places. So I can tell you this for a fact based off any open source information I have seen. From the Hezbollah war and the Hamas war, 95% of weaponry that I have seen used, if it's professional produced weapons, I'm not talking about though bombs that are propane tanks with a charge set on it. I'm talking about any professional, from RPG warheads, from rifles, from ammunition, from even the way it was storage, the ammunition was straight from the Russian factories.
Right.
So, and I've seen it. So if Russia didn't give it to them directly, it ended up there through them one way or the other.
Well, I saw a video yesterday, or I'm sorry, I saw a video 2 days ago, and I talked about it, to where you had a shipment of cucumbers that was coming into Hezbollah's hands, and then they just started chucking the cucumbers out the trucks, and ended up having a bunch of Russian munitions laid up over in the back of it. And it's just like, yep, brand new, straight from the factory, sealed in the containers, like you can see it. And so that shit that Russia is giving the IRGC, that they are delivering to Hezbollah.
Some of them that had dates on them, no? Didn't we look at some on one of the streams that still had the production date stamped on the crates?
Yeah, they were brand new.
And they weren't that old.
Yeah, they were new. That's freaking insane. That's absolutely insane. So it's really obvious that Russia has been working hand in hand with the IRGC. It just is, to support Hezbollah, on top of having, captured Russian Spetsnaz standing side by side with Hezbollah inside Syria. We also know that we have Russian munitions that have made their way to the front line over inside Lebanon as well. And likely that you end up seeing some of that tech actually made its way down into Yemen. So I truthfully, if you support Ukraine, you should be supporting Israel. If you don't, you're retarded. That's all I can say about that.
I mean, even if you don't support Ukraine, you should support Israel, because it's just the right thing to do if you look at the actual real thing behind everything that's going on there. Even who was it? Was it the Saudi prince, or the Abu Dhabi or UAE? One of these princes or sheikhs recently was on an interview with one of these big news outlets, and they asked him, what do you think about Ayatollah? What do you think about Iran? And he said, and this is quote, he called them the Middle Eastern new version of Hitler. He said what he wants to do is something very similar to what Hitler. This is a Muslim country with their own level of problems, and they're saying there is no working around it. You can pull up that video of him being interviewed. It was just recent. I just watched it the other day, and it's facts. Like we can blindside ourselves, but if you actually open your eyes and you look, they don't want, like, they chanting death to America, death to Israel, while they're in, like, while you have U.S. Negotiators in country talking to them.
Yep.
So, by the way, on that video you said earlier with the truck from the drone, you think it was a charge? I don't think it was a charge. I think it's just so blurry that you don't see it coming. No, I think that was the drone was sparkling it. I really think that was a sparkle, and I think they blurred it because they removed the data of the you know what the data you would normally see on the screen from those. I think that was. I think, and this is just again my opinion based off the information I've seen.
Yeah, I have to go back and look at it.
I think that the Mossad agents on the ground didn't actually do any of the work as far as that. I think what their job was to paint the primary targets for.
Do you want to explain what sparkling is? Because a lot of people don't. As I look for this video and pull it up.
Sorry. They set up like a high power laser designator, so they can like basically get visual on the target, put a laser on it, and then either via drone or via physical, like on a tripod, there's a laser, and it designated for then the aircraft that is moving in can then fire laser guided munitions, and basically they don't have to worry about looking for that target. So I think that's what, not IR is infrared. It would be an actual laser.
I'm looking right now for that video because I want to check it out again. Here it is.
I think that there's that little blur.
This blind spot right here, is that what you're saying? Was them sparkling?
Yeah, is my opinion. I mean, it looks like that to me, and I've seen plenty. I think you've seen them too.
I don't think you're.
And I think it's
right,
just because.
But why is it so dim? Do you think they try to tone it down or something?
Yes.
Normally that sucker is like
the reason
bright.
you see that too. The reason you see that semi-2 charges is because they probably used like something that's AT, so it went in. That's the small charge, and then it deads. That's my opinion. I looked at that video
that's a good
50
thought, man.
times. I think
that's
that's what they were.
Yeah, you might be right. That's an interesting thought, man. I
go
through tons of videos. I've been wrong in the past. I don't mind being wrong. No, and that's just it.
I don't think they would push up a team on the ground over there to do that of a truck. If it was a launcher, I think the safest bet for them was to paint it, strike it, and release the video.
Yeah, my thing, and the only reason I kind of didn't think that is because when you have all of these aircraft and you've got priority targets that are going on, that to me is a very soft target that a small team could take out, because now you're talking about priorities of fires on these different targets and everything else that's going on. This strike obviously took place during the daytimes, which is why it's more possible that could have been what
it's morning.
Yeah, exactly. So it's after the initial wave and everything else. Yeah, it could have also been an abandoned vehicle. People are just like, F this, I'm out, and ended up running away. It's possible you had a bunch of defectors once, like Salami and the other knuckleheads ended up getting schwacked. That could have been happening as well. That's a very valid point, man. Yeah, it very well could be that. Yeah.
They might have been tracking that truck all the way to it. Like that truck was on the way to a launch site.
Yeah.
And the driver said, I'm out. There's like bombs going off in every city.
Yep.
And it was instant that it was out. It wasn't like it took a few hours for the videos to come out. It was literally within minutes of the first strike. You had videos on them.
Yeah.
So I really think that it's just my opinion based off that video.
I want to get Ghost Cat up here. Ghost Cat has some questions, and I'm gonna have to mute myself real quick and take this call if you don't mind. If you don't mind running this for a sec, but Ghost Cat, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, so Matt stepped away, but I'm gonna say, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Making sure. Cool. So yeah, I just want to say that as far as the people of Iran, I mean, there's a lot of spaces with Iranian people showing up, and I'm not talking about like Ayatollah followers. I'm talking about like the Persians and the Kurds, and just like a lot of the good people of Iran that are like really supportive of Reza Pahlavi, the crown prince, and they're very supportive of Israel. So I just want to point that out in case there's like people listening tonight that don't know how much support, and I know you might know this as well, Texas, that the people of Iran like really support Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel, and that's just something to
I don't know. People have a very short-term memory when it comes to Iran. Like if you think Iran was a very different country not that long ago, not that long ago, Iran was a very like modern, free Middle Eastern country. It was very similar to Israel. It was a very similar style. Yes, it wasn't all about Jews. It was the Iranian people, but it was very similar. There was no garbage bags walking around everywhere. It was a real it was a real nice country. And then obviously the current regime came in power and everything changed. So yes, the people of Iran would love, for the most part, would love to go back to an old Iran.
Yeah, UV in the chat just said woman, freedom, life. And that's like the motto of the people. And they're not an Islamic people. And so they're, as far as what I've been listening to, like the past, 12 hours, are very excited. And now the question of, I mean, even Resla Pavlavi came out and was very supportive and enthusiastic about this. And he's ready. Like, he has a plan to come in. And a lot of times when like these regimes are toppled, it doesn't last because there's nothing that can come and take its place, right? So in this case, the people are ready. There's a leader that's ready that was ousted in 79. So this is like really hopeful for the people of Iran. So that was one thing I wanted to say. And I don't know if you're back, dear
Yeah,
Matt,
I'm back now.
but-
I'm back now. I'm sorry. It was the VA, and when they call, I got to take it because I never know if I'm going to hear from them again. So.
Well, speaking of that, it's your month, and happy, Veterans Month. And I know that the, HHS has deemed it better PTSD Awareness Month.
Is it really?
So
I thought it was Gay Pride Month.
Matt, can we talk about this one? I just saw this video. Is this real?
Yeah, this is
jet
allegedly a
refueling?
drone. Say what?
No, I'm looking about a jet refueling.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Fuel tanker over in broad daylight over
I've
the
seen them
skies
claim that
in
it's,
Iran.
Yeah, I've seen them claim that it's being done over in Iran. That one particular video. The problem is that there is no evidence to support that video was taken over Iran. What I have seen is lots of videos of them refueling over Syria. So it is possible that the video actually came out of Syria, and there's just people claiming that it's over top of Iran.
Yeah, because that would be like Ronnie. I don't know if you've seen his post, but he said if this is real, then that would be the equivalent. I don't want to say what he wrote because it'll be probably make your stream red. But yeah, it's wild. This whole thing is wild. I think it was more of a message than an actual like the damage that they've done
man.
with the initial.
It could be. So what I have up on the screen right now for people at home is a drone that was what is alleged to be an Iranian drone being intercepted over Syria, getting taken down, that actually got spotted. There was a red alert warning for Israel right before I ended up coming up on this stream, probably about 30 minutes or so before I started this stream, of Iranian drones that were inbound that ended up getting taken out. These drones are more or less just like a pest. More or less, it's being kind of like launched at Israel right now. So nothing really, I think, for Israelis to worry about until Iran actually gets it together. Patrick Loudon says, with North Korea saying that they will military support Iran, do you think Israel will make moves against North Korea if needed? Yeah, I think that they would if needed, but I also don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Look, North Korea is not going to try to reach out and slam Israel, and their Navy is kind of an embarrassment. So I don't think Israel really has anything to worry about. Was it North Korea that launched a boat the other day that just kind of fell off and into the water when they launched it? Is that North Korea? Or what am I thinking of, China?
No,
that was North Korea.
Yeah, North Korea.
No, you're talking about the new destroyer or
yeah,
whatever.
they went to go launch
launching.
a destroyer that just basically like toppled in the damn water.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a support that Russia and Iran has. I don't think we have to worry about North Korea, to be honest with you. North Korea has been providing them ballistic missile support for well over a decade now, according to intelligence. Mole says, thoughts on North Korea producing shared drones. Will North Korea be able to keep up the drone numbers? I think Russia knew the strike was coming. North Korea is probably going to help out with it along with China, but I don't know if that's really going to go anywhere. We'll see. Like, honestly, I don't know North Korea's production capabilities when it comes to drones. Hollywood Marine coming in, gifting out 10 Speak the Truth memberships. Greatly appreciate you, brother. And Jason Guthrie ends up becoming a true supporter. Thank you for joining the club, my friend. And Jamie M says more explosions are being reported over Tehran. And it's important for you guys to know that those explosions are going to be ongoing for the next probably, 2 to 3 days at a minimum. So just expect more reports of explosions constantly on a daily basis. I'm not going to be going live every time that ends up happening. Ghost, was he able to get your question answered? Or did I?
Yeah, actually, well, I was like really more talking about like the Iranian people, but here's my question. So, first of all, I just want to acknowledge the awesome work that you do, and it's really been a source of upliftment in my life, and I know many other people's lives. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so, okay.
Well, thank you.
So, yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. God bless you. So, okay, so we know that, okay, as far as President Trump goes, and you were always, I mean, you were always saying like, he's not backing off, he's not backing off. I mean, him not coming out publicly and saying like, yeah, you know, Israel and we're in cahoots, you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu and I, he's not going to like do that right now. He's got this civil war that's happening in the United States. He's got his birthday is tomorrow. He's got this big celebration to celebrate the military with this big parade in Washington, D.C. So, I mean, there definitely must have been, because I heard someone on the space that I also hear you often speaking, that of course, like Israel in a funny way is like the junior partner of the United States, you know, and like Iran was like called the junior partner of China.
Sure.
So, of course, there was, in my view, this was definitely okayed by President Trump. Whether he's going to say it or not, it doesn't matter. You know, it couldn't have happened. The 60 days were up. It is what it is. So I know that they were sending a lot of missiles back to Israel, and I heard that also very quietly, and I wanted to know what you knew about this, like the UK, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, USA had sent in planes to intercept those missiles and help Israel. I saw some posts about it, but saw them deleted. So I didn't know if you knew about that. I wanted to say anything about that.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing, right? When those drones are flying, we don't know what their intended target is. It's more than likely Israel, but we also have U.S. forces scattered throughout the region, right? Like we're still inside Syria, we're still inside Jordan. So anything that's leaving Iran and heading west is a threat to the United States, right? And so I have no doubt that we would be taking those suckers out of the sky. It just makes perfect sense to me. Not to mention, you know, Iraq is still, you know, one of our freaking partners. So if munitions are flying over top of Iraq, we're going to help shoot those suckers down too when it's safe to do so. Plus, we have U.S. forces that are staged over there. So it makes sense to me that the U.S. would assist in shooting down munitions that are going towards Israel. That way, Israel can focus on the bombardment because we've got a valid excuse to do it, and it frees up Israeli aircraft.
All right. Thank you so much. And so, and just, it's, you know, and there's a lot of like people saying, oh, there was no weapons of mass destruction. And, you know, there's so many people buying into that. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, there was like the report from Austria. I think that it's past time of even worrying about whether or not that was true or not. You know, I think that there's always going to be the naysayers, and even people on the chat tonight. I heard you read some saying that there was no nuclear, you know, uranium enrichment.
People don't believe for some reason. I was in a chat with like 1,000 people yesterday over on X. And for some reason, people still don't believe that Iran was trying to get nuclear weapons. And then even when you bring it up, hey, Iran's trying to make nuclear weapons, they're like, okay, so what's the problem? Israel does it. United States has them. Why can't frickin' Iran have them? I'm like, well, because Iran is a tyrannical, like Islamic regime that is like trying to blast Israel off the face of the earth. Like, it's pretty simple. You know, they're the nation that's out there screaming that they're going to blow everybody off the damn planet. So yeah, we don't want them to have nukes. It's common sense. But the issue is that what people don't understand, and they just continue to make excuse after excuse after excuse for Iran, you know, is that everything that's happening to Israel is because of the Iranian regime and the Ayatollah. The support for Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, the PIJ, everything that's taking place inside of the West Bank, a lot of things that are taking place over inside of Iraq, a lot of things that are taking place inside of Somalia, all being supported by the Iranian regime. That's all directly impacting what's taking place over inside of Israel. And their goal, Iran's goal, is to get Israel out of there. They don't want it to exist. Their ideology aligns strictly with that of Hamas, regardless of a Sunni Shia freaking, you know, hatred that might be going on. But enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so that is the amount. And you look at the amount of money, time, and freaking power that Iran has invested in all of these tiny little terror organizations across the Middle East. And it becomes abundantly clear that their goal is to rip Israel off the face of the earth. And if they have the ability to do that without having to fund all these organizations in a much cheaper and easier way, just nuking Israel, why wouldn't they do that? And so that's the danger of having it. Like they have proven and stated almost on a daily basis for years that they're going to uproot Israel. So why would you allow them to have a nuke? It makes literally no sense.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, even if it wasn't about the nuke, let's go back to where people.
Well, do you mind if I go to Tom real quick, because he's been waiting patiently for a while, and I got a couple other hands up. Thanks, brother.
I just want to say that it's actually my birthday out tomorrow as well.
Oh, no way.
With President Trump's birthday. So you giving me that much time and choosing me to come up, that was like the gift. See that you gave me the gift. So thank you so much. And
well, happy birthday to you, ma'am. Mr. Bones.
Hey, what's up?
How are you, sir? Thank you for your patience.
Oh, not a problem. Nothing much. I had posted a quote by Sun Tzu's Art of War earlier in the comments. It said, to know one's enemy is to defeat them before ever engaging in battle.
Right.
So my question is can Iran actually muster a real response? Are they even capable of it now?
I think they are capable of mustering a real response, but they've got to get coordinated, and they've got to get their like lines of communication back together. Chances are those suckers have been shattered, right? And you're absolutely right when it comes down to knowing your enemy and being able to like take them out. And that was, in my opinion, probably some of the biggest issues that we end up seeing in all of these conflicts is people think they know their enemy, but they don't. And Israel has been able to think multiple steps ahead with Iran because it's really quite simple, knowing what their capabilities are and what they're going to do. On the flip side, when you have the vast intelligence network that Israel has, and you have these other like covert activities that are taking place, it becomes very hard to predict what Israel's actually going to do. We know that they're going to go after key leadership. We didn't know how they were going to do it. I had assumed a couple different ways that they're going to do it. We know they're going to go after a communication site. They did that. We know they're going to go after the nuclear facilities. They did that. But how they went about making all of that possible is like that hard to predict place. And the same thing we saw with Hezbollah when Pagergate and all of that went off. Eventually, they ended up responding. But it took them a while because they had to lick their wounds and they had to get everything back together. And so right now, what Iran's going to have to do is they're going to have to figure out, number one, who's left. Because I got a feeling a bunch of people ended up defecting. Like, if you want to know my other opinion of some of the things that likely ended up happening, was a bunch of, you know, their key soldiers and stuff from the IRGC likely ran away from some of these sites, likely just tucked tail and ran. All of this information that Israel has been given on these sites is more than likely coming from human sources. And that means, like, and you look at how much intelligence that Israel has gathered on this, that means that those people are pissed off at the Iranian regime. And so it's possible that this is taking place. You know what I mean? And I did hear some word. I don't want to give too much away, but I did hear that there could be something that could be going on that's going to cause an end to this regime. And if that's the case, it's going to make it 10 times harder for Iran to be able to respond. They might be thinking that they can do this. They might be thinking that, you know, they're going to get this response off. But when they pick up the phone and try to make a call and nobody's answering it on the other side, that's a problem. And so I think that's really what the question is going to come down to, is whether or not Iran's going to be able to respond on a level that would actually have some sort of an impact. Because they now, again, with the amount of stuff that's going to get shot down, those drones are worthless. Like those drones, and they're like flying the Shaheeds, they can launch a massive wave. They're all going to get blasted out of the sky. We moved in so much aircraft into the area, it's insane. Those drones will all get blasted. Cruise missiles, they'll get blasted. But their ability to launch is really my concern. If people aren't answering the phone because there is some sort of a coup or something like that that's taking place, then Iran's not going to be able to respond. They're not. And Mossad should have been coordinating things like that.
Now, for a coup to happen, wouldn't that mean they'd have to overthrow the Ayatollah?
That would have to, no. That would mean that people have to think the Ayatollah is dead or he is no longer relevant. So they don't have to necessarily overthrow the Ayatollah, but what they have to do is take charge. And if the Ayatollah can't get a word out edgewise, which is pretty freaking easy to do, but if the Ayatollah can't get a word out, and he can't speak and he can't communicate, and there is misinformation or disinformation that's put out about his either whereabouts and or, you know, the status of his life, then you can start affecting that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Also, if people start seeing that the regime is like losing power, like we are right now with like all of these different strikes that are taking place, when you start seeing stuff like this where the regime just looks totally helpless, that they're just getting hammered. That also brings it up. Look at what took place over inside Gaza as soon as like Hamas started to lose their grip inside of Gaza, and you started to have different civilian uprisings and things like that were taking place. Once the people no longer fear the government, then they're going to be good. And that's the key, whether or not the people are going to feel like the government no longer can affect them. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I got one more question, and this one's for Texas. Was there any confirmation that that was an F-16 that shot down that Su-34?
Yes.
Okay.
The
Well,
Ukrainian Air Force general gave a statement about that, and they said in short was that one of our newly donated aircraft airframes has successfully liquidated a Russian Su-34. So
because I
we
watched
know
the
that they probably have used not probably, we know that they've used their AWACS that they've got. We know there was a like, it seems like this was like an intentional plan to have an F-16 loiter, let Russia send a flanker to intercept, have the AWACS know and see where that flanker is coming from, and see how it could test the waters, because that was shot down over Russia. So
yeah, because I watched the video last night of retired F-16 fighter pilot analyzing it, and he was saying that if the F-16 in conjunction with the AWACS were the ones that shot down the Su-34, then that would mean that the F-16 shot the Su-34 from outside of the Su-34's range, and he was pretty much a kill before he ever even knew that he had been shot down.
yeah, look, I'm not a flight specialist or by any means anything to do with flying fighter jets or anything like that, but I based off the information of the weaponry that I know the F-16 can hold, and what Ukraine has been given, I am gonna guess that was either guided via radar. It was I think something like an MRAM that was used, and it was using the radar signal from the AWACS, and that Su-34 could pop as many flares. I don't know.
So I want to jump in real quick because this just got put out by Noah Berg, and again, she's normally pretty accurate, and I haven't been able to listen to it, but I want to listen to this. And if somebody speaks Arabic, I got a feeling this is going to be a radio broadcast I'm about to play. If somebody speaks Arabic and they can confirm in the chat what's actually being said here, I'd greatly appreciate it if this is a radio broadcast. But again, this is my first time listening. I could be wrong. No, it's not.
Oh, I can't hear it. Okay, because I'm not in the chat up there. By the way, take a look at what I sent you. I sent you 2 things on X.
Okay.
One, apparently there's more strikes happening now.
Hold on,
in the last hour.
hold on, brother. Hold on. All right, so what she ended up putting out was that the regime is afraid of us. It knows that if we go out on the streets, it will collapse. They've brought in security thugs. People, let's take to the streets and end it. This regime is at its weakest right now. Allegedly, that is what's floating around Iran. So if that's actually what's taking place, then we're going to see a huge suppression of what's actually coming out. And that is actually really key information, right? The quote is, and it just says, important message from Iran. The regime is afraid of us. It knows that if we go outside in the streets, it will collapse. They've brought in security thugs. People, let's take to the streets and end it. This regime is at its weakest right now. If that's the case, and that's actually happening, then we are going to see, how do I want to say this, an uprising over inside of Iran, which means that the regime is going to get toppled. That's freaking huge news, man. That's absolutely huge. Sorry, Texas. Go ahead, brother. What'd you say?
No, I sent you 2 things. Number one, I saw that apparently additional like strikes has been happening in the last hour.
Yep.
Something like that. And then also there's the SAT footage or some footage of like a screen grab from before and after the. Yeah, and
I got it up right now.
I don't. Yeah. So that's apparently a thing, and also there's a really. Yeah, that looks like it. That was done that was definitely I couldn't tell you confirmation because again I don't know, but that looks like a bunker buster went in, detonated on the ground, and everything caved inwards.
Kind of looks that way, doesn't
That
it?
is a big crater. Yeah, that looks like a big crater, and the damage is not much on the outside because you see the out like line of the structure still standing, but the inside is fully caved.
That goes along, that assessment that you just gave actually goes along with the graphic of what Israel ended up releasing, showing the underground facilities. David Hoffpower asked, with us empowering multiple groups throughout the abandoned weaponry, CIA funding 4 different interests in the region, who's most likely to fill void if the regime falls? I got told that there was somebody that's kind of like an uprising leader that's over in there. And I forget the guy's name, but apparently he's already been identified. Mayor Hulan says 15 minutes ago, Israel went back into Iran. Correct. You, again, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to continue to see these waves of airstrikes over Iran. They're going to be nonstop over the next 2 to 3 days at least. Darian Glay says, what happens when dirty bombs is given Iran militias to attack America and Israeli interests? If dirty bombs end up actually being a thing, if they end up trying to make a dirty bomb, that's going to be very, very bad. It is chemical warfare in a way. I mean, WMDs easily. You can look at it all sorts of different ways, but it opens up a whole different package of strike options that are going to end up getting used against Iran. It would be a very bad idea for them to do that. Lone Ranger says, you're spot on. Just found this channel, and God bless Israel and the USA. God bless both. I totally agree with that. And Jamie letting us know more explosions being reported over top of Tehran. I want to go ahead and give, who was it that I just pulled up? Because he's been waiting patiently as well. Zaliger, thank you for your patience, brother. If you don't mind jumping up to the stage and take the mic, my friend.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Just a couple quick questions. I won't waste much of your time. Before you started the stream this morning, I was just like doom scrolling on Twitter, and there was on some of the like OSINT channels and stuff like that, there was statements from the Houthis and then also from Yemen. Yemen was saying that they're not going to allow Hezbollah to attack, like because it's like putting their country at war. Like, did you see anything on that? And then
No.
the Houthis actually said that they weren't going to attack in retaliation as well.
That seems really unlike the Houthis. Do you know who put that information out?
I only have like a small group of people, so it's like one of the OSINT channels. I know there's a bunch of them, but you probably have it. But I saw it just before the stream, probably like 30 minutes before that.
That almost sounds like misinformation because it goes against pretty much everything that the Houthis have been saying. Right? Like that doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem accurate.
Yeah, that's why I was asking if you'd seen it, because no one had mentioned it. And then also like with the Yemen saying that they're like they won't allow Hezbollah to attack because it's putting their nation like at war basically. And so it was like both of the proxies were saying that they're like they can't attack. So that was pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, I think that's likely going to be dis and or misinformation, if you want my personal opinion on that, because that doesn't go along with like Houthis' ideology and what they're doing. And you're going to see a ton of that crap coming out over the next couple of days. And I look at that the same way I look at, people saying that, Trump isn't going to allow Israel to strike Iran, or that Trump's going to allow Iran to enrich uranium. You look at the past history of everything that they've said and everything that they've done, and if it doesn't align with it, then it's probably false. And I think in this case, that's absolutely correct. That's likely false.
And then one other thing, or two quick things. One thing was with that video of the the ballistic missile launcher that you saw. There's actually another one that was during the night, and it's a full drone view all the way to strike, like of the ballistic missile launcher. If I find it, I'll tag you in it. But yeah, that's Israeli drone was like flew straight down to it and blew it up, and like it was posted widely. So I'm surprised that like you didn't see it. But
dude, I had so much stuff going on last night. It is possible that I saw it and then I threw it in the stack and just missed it, because what I end up doing is loading everything into a dock and then opening it up over here on like this system that I'm broadcasting on. So it is possible that I just clicked it and didn't put it up. And I also heard that some of those ballistic missiles might have actually been launched from Iraq and or Syria targeting Iran, that what we could have been actually seeing was outgoing going into Iran. So Israeli outgoing into Iran, and they were using either Syrian and or Iraqi soil in order to launch those suckers. And I would find that very hard to believe because of the amount of sensors that Iran's kind of got throughout that entire region. Sneaking something like that in would be very, very difficult.
Wow, yeah. And then my very last question, I'll let you go. Is I read right before the stream that Netanyahu is going to meet up with Pete Hegseth, to like ask for like the U.S. involvement in the strikes and stuff like that. Did anything come of that? Because it said, I thought it said it was in like 2 hours or something like that, and it's been more than that.
Oh. I also heard that Trump was supposed to be traveling to Israel, and all of that allegedly has been shot down. And you know, if that's the case, like Israel, I don't think is going to be asking for help with strikes on Iran. It seems like they've got that under control, I think. And nor do I think Israel wants America's help, to be honest. Nor do I think Trump is going to allow that to happen either. Yep. Hey, Texas, would you mind taking over again with the chat? It looks like the VA is calling me back again, so I got to take this.
No, it's fine. That's right. If you have your hands up, I'm gonna. No, you can stay. Just mute yourself if you want to. I'll bring you up as well. Go ahead and grab you up here. Host. No, I'm getting a phone call. 1 second. I'll be right back.
Am I on? Am I audible? No idea if anybody can hear me.
Yes, you're audible. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks. So I just wanted to say, I don't know if anybody's seen it yet, but supposedly,
hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to close this sucker out
Israeli
real quick. I got to take a call. I apologize, but this is important. I've been streaming for about 2 hours, so I apologize, but I do have to get out of here. Peace, love, happiness. God bless. I'll see y'all here